It was a Tuesday, or maybe a Thursday, outside the Eagles Club in Midway. The kind of place where time seems to fold in on itself. A 7-foot-tall man, Big Tom, was wrestling karaoke gear out of a truck that looked like it had seen more miles than the Oregon Trail. The dust kicked up, catching the last rays of a sun that had long given up. Inside, the air was thick with the smell of stale beer and desperation. It was a scene straight out of a fever dream. Bozo the Clown was sharing a drink with Captain Kirk and Spock. Over at the pool table, the Brady Bunch kids were hustling the Lone Ranger and Tonto, their innocent faces hiding shark-like precision. On a tiny stage that looked like it might collapse at any moment, the solid gold dancers were grooving to a silent beat only they could hear. In a corner booth, Barney the Dinosaur and the Teletubbies were locked in a staring contest, a silent, colorful standoff. You thought that was strange? Bigfoot was arm wrestling Oscar the Grouch, his trashcan lid digging into the sticky table, while Big Bird nervously refereed. In another booth, Huck Finn and Tom Sawyer were swapping tailies with Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson, who seemed utterly baffled by the Mississippi slang. The entire crew from Gilligan's Island, including the skipper and his little buddy, were downing tropical drinks at the bar with Lucy and Ricky Ricardo. Suddenly, the unmistakable whirring sound of a time machine echoed through the room. A phone booth, suspiciously shaped like a TARDIS, materialized near the restrooms, and out stepped Doctor Who and his robotic dog K9. Things only got weirder. Hawkeye and BJ from MASH had set up a makeshift triage unit in a corner, complete with an IV drip filled with what looked like coffee. Their first patients? The Wolfman and Frankenstein's monster, both suffering from a nasty pre-karaoke hangover. Near the pool table, Jerry Springer was in his element, microphone in hand, interviewing the Mummy and King Tut. The Pillsbury Doughboy and Doc Holliday watched from a safe distance, the gunslinger looking far more comfortable than the doughy icon. Dracula, trying to get into the spirit of things, sauntered up to the bar and ordered a Bloody Mary. Tonto, who was now tending bar with a stoic expression, just slid him a glass of tomato juice. The look of utter, soul-crushing disappointment on Dracula's face was a masterpiece. Then Jerry turned his attention to the doughboy. "So, tell me," he began, before instinctively poking him in the belly. The resulting high-pitched giggle echoed through the bar as the doughboy, losing all composure, stumbled backward and knocked over a full tray of drinks. This seemed to be the cue for King Tut and the Mummy to begin a slow-motion chase around the pool table. Their ancient bandages started unraveling, creating a chaotic web of linen that tripped up the Brady kids. The Teletubbies, meanwhile, had commandeered the jukebox. A series of bizarre, otherworldly electronic chirps filled the air. Holmes and Watson abandoned their conversation with the River Boys and were now hunched over the jukebox, trying to decipher the pattern in the Teletubbies' musical madness. The center of the room became an impromptu dance floor. Bigfoot and Frankenstein's monster were locked in an epic dance-off, a clash of brute force and clumsy elegance. The solid gold dancers acted as judges, holding up handwritten scorecards with 9s and 10s. Just then, the lights dimmed. A single spotlight hit Big Tom as he finally grabbed the microphone. The room fell silent. In the center of it all, a giant green cake sat on a table, its icing glistening. And then, it began to melt. Slowly at first, then faster. The entire bizarre congregation stood up as one. The walls of the Eagles Club themselves started to drip like a candle left burning too long. A single voice cut through the silence, singing a haunting melody, and soon, everyone joined in. Someone left the cake out in the rain. "I don't think that I can take it, 'cause it took so long to bake it." The screen flickered with static, like an old TV losing its signal. The green icing flowed across the floor, a sticky, sweet river. The last thing we see is the melting cake, the faces of this impossible crowd fading slowly, one by one, into the darkness.